Hey, have you ever noticed something super weird? Whether you're looking at top CEOs, industry leaders, brilliant academics, spiritual gurus, or elite creators, by the time they reach the absolute top, their vibe, the way they carry themselves, and how they handle things are almost exactly the same. There's no showing off, no aggression, no bragging, and no rushing around. They speak slowly, act steadily, stay emotionally rock solid, and have this really grounded gaze. They might look gentle on the outside, but they carry this undeniable quiet power that makes you realize you can't underestimate them. I used to think that every highly successful person had their own unique superpower, but later I realized that the ultimate truth is always the simplest. The people sitting at the very peak of the pyramid have completely stripped away their industry labels, their titles, and even their surface-level personalities. What's left is just a unified understanding of human nature and the fundamental rules of life. So, skipping all the toxic positivity, the underlying logic of why all these masters end up on the exact same path is actually pretty straightforward. First off, they are so similar because they've all figured out the underlying rules of the world. While average people obsess over little tricks and life hacks, top performers obsess over universal patterns, looking right past the surface to see the core of the issue. The world really only runs on one operating system: cause and effect, cycles, balance, trade-offs, compounding, and human nature. It doesn't matter if you're in tech, running a brick-and-mortar store, investing, making art, or doing scientific research. If you want to be the absolute best, you have to play by these rules. For example, if you want to build something real, you have to play the long game, because chasing quick wins will destroy you. If you want to go far, you have to maintain your integrity, because if your character doesn't match your position, everything eventually collapses. If you want real results, you have to hyperfocus, because trying to do everything guarantees failure. And if you want peace of mind, you have to accept that things constantly change, since fighting reality will just leave you exhausted. High-level people execute these rules instead of being slaves to their emotions. They stop fighting the world, human nature, and reality itself. When someone truly understands how the game is played, their behavior just naturally aligns. There's no more overthinking, no more anxiety, no more blind following, and no more restlessness. Another reason they are so alike is that they've completely mastered their inner selves. Low-level effort is just burning physical energy, but high-level effort is all about mental fortitude. If you look at anyone at the peak of their game, they've completely shed that youthful edge, that desperate need to compete, and the urge to constantly prove themselves. What replaces it is this extreme calm, restraint, tolerance, and clarity. And that happens because they've all been through the exact same kind of crucible. They've survived the dark days when no one cared about them, carried the heavy pressure of being betrayed or misunderstood, paid the price for their own ignorance, fallen into the trap of their own ego, seen the absolute coldest sides of human nature, and basically hit rock bottom before building themselves back up. When you walk through all of that, it changes you. You stop arguing over who's right or wrong, you stop trying to explain yourself, and you stop begging for validation. Their mindset eventually settles into one specific state: quiet, grounded, steady, adaptable, and ruthless when necessary. Being quiet brings wisdom, being grounded breaks through obstacles, being steady gets you far, being adaptable overcomes rigidity, and being ruthless gets things done. Notice how the most formidable people usually speak softly but take incredibly decisive action. They have great tempers but rock-solid boundaries, and they look gentle on the outside while being unbreakable on the inside. That's not just their personality, that's the uniform they wear after going through the fire. On top of that, they've essentially quit their emotions. Average people are controlled by how they feel, while top performers control those feelings, choosing to make rational decisions rather than emotional ones. It's not about being cold-blooded, it's about top-tier self-discipline. They understand a harsh truth: getting overly emotional is not only useless, it actively drains your life force. Anger doesn't solve the problem, anxiety doesn't change your situation, and complaining doesn't magically create opportunities. Spiraling in your own head doesn't hurt anyone else, it just destroys you. So, as they level up, they just automatically drop these habits. They quit being fragile, they cut out meaningless socializing, they stop venting just for the sake of venting, they lose the impatience of wanting overnight success, and they stop expecting other people to save them. They become quieter, more low-key, and more comfortable being alone. It's not that they're antisocial, they're just aggressively protecting their energy and saving their time for the things that actually matter. You'll notice that truly powerful people are insanely emotionally stable. The sky could be falling, and you wouldn't see a ripple on their face. It's not that they don't feel it, they've just learned how to put their emotions on mute, which is basically standard equipment for anyone at the top. They also relentlessly protect their focus. The absolute rarest skill in the world today isn't intelligence or networking, it's focus. Look at the average person's life. They want to grab every opportunity, they want everything right now, they get obsessed with something for 3 minutes and then drop it. They barely scratch the surface, end up achieving nothing, and then blame the universe for being unfair. Now look at a master's life. They pick one thing, and they push it to the absolute limit. They don't chase trends, they don't blindly follow the crowd, they don't constantly pivot, and they don't look around at what everyone else is doing. They just know that less is more, slow is fast, going incredibly deep is how you break through, and pure focus makes you invincible. Whether you're looking at legendary tech founders, billionaire investors, or the hidden champions of niche industries, they all walked the exact same path of long-term thinking paired with extreme focus. They don't care about the flavor of the month or making a quick buck. They just tend to their own garden, day in and day out, refining, accumulating, and leveling up. After enough time passes, the average person is still spinning in circles, while the focused person is light years ahead. Taking focus to the extreme makes a person simple, pure, and resolute, which is another massive reason they all seem so alike. Furthermore, they see right through human nature. When we're young, we tend to think everyone is inherently good. It usually takes half a lifetime to realize that human nature is complex, naturally self-interested, and hardwired to seek advantage and avoid pain. Every top performer is a master observer of people. They don't judge human nature, and they don't hate it, they just understand it, adapt to it, and protect themselves against its downsides. They see the reality clearly. There are rarely permanent friends, only permanent aligned interests. People aren't usually good or bad to you for absolutely no reason. When you're weak, you'll suddenly notice a lot of bad people around you, but when you're strong, the world is magically a much kinder place. They know better than to test human nature, because it usually fails the test, and they don't overshare, because no one can ever truly feel exactly what you're feeling. But seeing the world this clearly doesn't make them bitter or mean. It actually makes them more gentle, more clear-headed, and kinder, but a kindness with teeth. When it comes to people, they maintain a healthy distance, give respect, and hold strict boundaries. When it comes to handling situations, they stay rational, know their absolute bottom lines, and stick to their principles. They don't pander, they don't cling, and they don't rely on anyone else. Being independent, clear-headed, restrained, and compassionate is exactly what everyone eventually turns into once they truly figure people out. Finally, they all return to extreme simplicity. Low-level desires are satisfied by indulging, high-level desires are satisfied by restraint, but top-tier desires are satisfied by pure minimalism. As masters reach the end of their journey, they actively start subtracting from their lives. Materially, they keep it simple with no comparing, no showing off, and no extravagant waste. Socially, they cut out the networking noise and only keep their genuine people around. When it comes to their desires, they don't get greedy, they don't need everything to be perfect, and they find joy in what they have. Mentally, they focus inward and refuse to let outside noise distract them. They stop caring about superficial labels, status, saving face, or putting on a show, and instead, they chase inner peace, true freedom, and a rich, clear mind. They wear simple clothes, eat simple food, and live a simple life, channeling all their energy into the few things that actually matter. Simplicity is the ultimate destination for a master. When you strip away all the complexity and all the vanity, what's left is the truest essence of what it means to be alive. So, honestly, it's not a coincidence that truly elite people all end up looking incredibly similar, it's inevitable. It's because they've all aligned themselves with the rules of the world, mastered their own minds, quit being controlled by emotions, guarded their focus, understood human nature, and embraced simplicity. There are no shortcuts on this path and no secret cheat codes. You just have to save yourself, cultivate yourself, and wake yourself up. You really don't need to envy anyone, because everyone has their own rhythm, their own season to bloom, and their own mountain to climb. Your job isn't to copy anyone else, but to quiet your mind, steady your nerves, and just take the very next step in front of you. Slowly train your mind, slowly build your foundation, and slowly get stronger. One day, you'll look up and realize that you've become one of them, clear-headed, disciplined, calm, powerful, and gentle. Every journey to the top starts with passion, gets tested by persistence, survives through kindness, and is ultimately won by your mindset. I hope we can both shed our restlessness, find our inner peace, stay true to our beginnings, and eventually master our own paths.